Hey, folk!
Mr. Karloff feels it would be a little unkind to present this picture without just a word of friendly warning.
Oh, does he indeed?
We're about to unfold the story of Frankenstein, a man of science who sought to create a man after his own image, without reckoning upon God. It is one of the strangest tales ever told. It deals with the two great mysteries of creation, life and death. I think it will thrill you. It may shock you. It might even horrify you. So if any of you feel that you do not care to subject your nerves to such a strain, now is your chance to, well, we've warned you.
I think it'll be alright. So folks, Kilt-Man here, Kilt-Man at your classic Universal services. How are you all? Hope you're doing very well. Yes, as you may gather, I have another mask to show you. Yeah, I've bought so many over the last few weeks. The Tots cavalcade of latex lunacy has been unending. The Universal range, the Hammer Horror range, the Scooby-Doo range, and I'm sure there's other ranges too. I bought a whole load, as you know, because you've seen all the ones that I had. But there was one, the demigod of the range, which everybody and his dog was after. Well, I wanted the Wolfman most of all, and I got that, and I'm happy with that. But the biggie, the real biggie, of course, was the Boris Karloff Frankenstein's monster mask from the original 1931 masterpiece from James Whale, the makeup devised by Jack P. Pierce, who I have banged on about in video after video after video. And yeah, everyone wanted that one. And of course, I wanted it. It's one of my favourite vintage classic horror movies of all time. But I saw pictures online and people got them first because this came in and sold out and came in and sold out. So I came to this one a little bit late to the Gothic party. But I saw pictures online and I thought, ooh, from that angle, that's Boris Karloff. Ooh, but from that angle, I don't know who that is. Boris Yeltsin, you know, Boris Johnson. Couldn't tell. And some of it, I thought, it's not working. And then it wasn't until a good friend of mine and a fellow mask and horror movie connoisseur, Tom Davidson, you're out there somewhere, showed me the pictures of his Boris Karloff mask from the Tots range, which he'd just got. And I thought, okay, I'm sold. And I put my order in, I purchased it, and it is here. I have it now. And I'm going to give you my kilted verdict on it. So without further ado, You are, he is. What? Oh, he says he belongs dead. God. Look, in this version you can't talk, okay? Alright, don't get ahead of yourself now. Don't get ahead of yourself. Oh dear. So yeah, Boris Karloff, William Henry Pratt, an Englishman, a refined Englishman who moved to America and then toiled in over 81 movies before he made Frankenstein. Yeah, 81 plus movies, usually playing a heavy in some kind of crime movie. And although most of the film had been cast, James Whale was sitting in the Universal canteen, and there was William Henry Pratt, aka Boris Karloff. And he saw him and he thought, bone structure, your facial features, and you're very tall and gaunt, and yes, this could work. You're monstrous, he said to him, but be my monster. So Boris never wants to shirk an opportunity, and in fact, as his own daughter does testify, he didn't mind being typecast either, because he thought if you're typecast it means you're bloody good at something, so they wanted to do it again and again and again. It's all money. And because he and his family weren't eating very well. Although he made 81 movies, he wasn't making any money. He'd done a lot of things, a lot of jobs in America. He'd been there for 10 years by the time this role came around. So he jumped at it. And then he jumped at it and spent 3 hours in the makeup chair before filming, and then 3 hours afterwards getting the makeup taken off. And it's this classic absolutely immortal makeup that we have here. Jack P. Pierce was the head of makeup in the Universal Studios, and he didn't just do monster makeup, he did lots of other makeup, so he was head of the department. But he was a master, a maestro, a craftsman when it came to like collodion, spirit gum, cotton balls, grease paint. He could do this sort of thing. He was a genius at it. And there were lots of different ideas for this particular monster. Some were very robotic, with metal rivets and stuff all over him, encased in steel and titanium. Some were very simian-like and big beast-like monsters. But then they finally, settled on this design. And of course, the flat top, the raised forehead, the bulbous brooding brow. Try saying that after you've had a few tinnies. The dedicated amongst you will now realise that if I'm drinking lager, it means there's no whiskey left in the house. No, there isn't. But we'll make do. So this makeup went through lots of different sort of ideas. The same as the film itself went through many permutations. Mary Shelley's book originally, then various stage adaptations, and then lots of different screenplay adaptations before they finally settled on the version that we now see, which actually is a bit of a hodgepodge of several different versions before it, so some bits don't really add up, some bits are throwbacks to what was in earlier scripts, but this is the nature of the beast. So, here he is, the Tots mask. Now, for those of you who want to see it, there is the tag, and this is sculpted by Justin Mabry. Justin Mabry from Tots Trick or Treat Studios is one of the head honchos there. A supremo amongst supremos. And this is long awaited. There's been many, many Frankenstein's monster masks. Of course there have. I've had several over the years, and they've been absolutely cack. But this is truly majestic. Now, you may be thinking, what's happening there? There's a weird boss eye. I've got bags in here and stuff, which I'm going to take out. In fact, I'm going to take them out now. Because, if anything, this is the kind of mask you don't want to pad out. Boris Karloff was very emaciated, very thin, very gaunt when he made this movie. When you see him, this is definitely from the first movie. In Bride of Frankenstein, he's burnt. He has scald and scorch marks from the fiery conclusion at the end of the original movie when the windmill collapses in flames and he gets sent down to the depths of the well and then surfaces and he's scorched in Bride of Frankenstein. But not only is he scorched, but he's managed to make a bit of money and he and his family can eat. So he's begun to fill out a bit. By the time he came to the third Frankenstein movie in the cycle, which was the Basil Rathbone version, where he's playing Wolf Frankenstein, great name, Wolf Frankenstein, and he's the son of Frankenstein. And Boris Karloff then he's much bigger, much broader, much more meat on his bones, so he's a bigger, more formidable creature. But in this, he's very, very thin, gaunt, very tall, with the asphalted boots building him up to what should be 8 feet tall in the original book, and in the first screenplays is more like 7 feet. And with the asphalted boots and all that, and he walks forward with a lurch, not robotic, but stiffened and sort of dead, rigor set in sort of joints. He's trying to get loose, limber up. And the hands were huge as well, because Jack Pierce had learned that what happens when people die, dead bodies, the fluids flood to the extremities, so you often find the hands and the feet are much bigger than they were when they were alive. So you see the hands, which works better because you see the makeup on the hands even better in the movie because they're so much bigger. All the stitch work and the scarring, it's brilliant. But the head, of course, the big flat top. The flat top and the built-up fod. Why is that? Now, it looks strange. It must look strange at the time. But the idea is, although it doesn't really come across in the movie, but the whole point of it was that, like a lid, you would take the top of the head off, put the brain in. Try to put a normal brain in, not an abnormal brain. Fritz, you damn fool, you. Not Igor in this, it's Fritz. And it's not Victor Frankenstein, it's Henry Frankenstein. And he's the son of a baron, no less. So he's a lot further up the social scale than he was in Mary Shelley's original book, just a science student. But there we go. In reality, this was built up with collodium and wax, which is a very horrible substance, and it weighs heavily upon the flesh. And then to take it off, you've got to prise it off bit by bit, tearing the skin. And it must have been horrific to go through. Karloff initially said, well, you can see my eyes, and my eyes look alive. I'm meant to be dead. You're going to have to change that. So both Pierce and Karloff came up with the idea of affixing sort of like a putty-like substance on his own eyelids to try and make them heavier, make them droop even more, so his eyes are sort of sunken beneath this. And to add to the sunken effect, the gaunt effect, a lot of blackness and shading around the underneath of the eyes to make them seem even more recessed. And of course, very famously, what side is it? It's that side. That side there has the Big Depression. The Big Depression. Hadn't America just come out of the Big Depression? Great Depression? We digress for history lessons. That little depression there was where Karloff, who had a bridge on his teeth, and Jack P. Pierce said, take the bridge out. So he took that out, and of course his cheek just sank in, giving him even more of a desiccated, emaciated look, and it really, really worked. And this mask definitely does have that look to it. Maybe you can't quite see here, but there is a very definite depression and dimple there. There is one on the other side, but it's a different shape. But the point is that his face was sunken in, and that was what makes the makeup so fantastic. When someone's got a thin face, you can put stuff on that face and then chisel it down to get the look you want. If they've got a big fat, like me for example, I couldn't play that. To put that makeup on me, you'd have to put a lot more makeup on and make the head even bigger so you could chisel it down to get the dimensions right. Do you understand what I mean?
Now you stay there.
Well, if you don't, hey, you can't tell me. But they've done a bang-up job on that. The scarring around here. Now, I always thought that was a little bit lower around the neck. I'm not entirely sure if that is correct positioning. I would say that it is, but I'll have to go and check. We have the electrodes, not bolts. You guys all know that. In his neck, because he is the son of lightning. Mary Shelley never wrote how Frankenstein actually brought the creature, as it's called in the book, to life. He amassed the tools of life around him. And then that's pretty much it. She doesn't tell you what techniques he used. So you kind of think there's a bit of sorcery, a bit of black magic, a bit of necromancy here taking place. You don't know. But in the film, of course, it's thunder and lightning, electricity, because the film, although it's gothic, it's also very modernistic as well, with new approaches. And the whole idea in the book that Mary Shelley was putting forward was that, it's nature versus nurture. He's only a monster because, and he's beautiful, because Frankenstein has picked all the best body parts, to make this an Adonis of a being. So, but only when but the eyes are dead, there's no soul there. He has dead eyes, which frightens everybody. So that's why he gets treated so badly. And it's only because he's a nice person, but he gets treated so badly, and it turns him uglier on the inside, and then obviously ugly on the outside. It makes him into a monster. Now that was the big social thing that Mary Shelley was trying to put across. James Whale and his writers were like, no, we don't need any of that. We'll have a shortcut, a big narrative shortcut. Fritz will drop the normal brain when the lightning bolt goes off and thunder drops it in shock and picks up the other brain instead. Abnormal. So they put an abnormal brain in. But even then, he's still sympathetic. But the point of the movie is then that, well, he already was psychopathic. It was a bad brain to begin with. The whole thing could have been a great rip-roaring success if Fritz hadn't fucked up. But hey, the rest is history. But there you go. And as I say, he's still sympathetic. He gets tortured and abused by Fritz with a flaming torch. His own creator turns his back on him. Leave it alone, Fritz, just leave it alone, you know. Another thing I wanted to mention as well is that, and this is my personal theory, James Whale had already chosen Colin Clive for the part. The tragic Colin Clive. He drank himself to death, you know, had lots of inner demons. But when James Whale saw Boris Karloff at that canteen and thought, that bone structure, that face, I think he saw something else as well. If you look at publicity shots of Boris Karloff without any makeup on, but his hair slicked back and just leaning in the chair and trying to look photogenic, he and Colin Clive in his own similar publicity shots look very alike. And if you watch the film again, the film has moments of lightness, like the wedding, Colin Clive is Henry Frankenstein getting over the shock of the monster, and when the monster's gone, let's forget about all that, get on with our lives with May Clark, his bride-to-be. And he's a lot, the lighting's a lot obviously brighter, they're in sunshine, and he's all cheery. But the majority of the film, he's glowering and depressed or driven and obsessed. So he looks, his eyes, he's not slept, so there's all bags under his eyes and shading. He looks just like Boris Karloff does. I think James Whale spotted that, because the idea, of course, is that Frankenstein's monster and Frankenstein himself are the flip sides of the same coin, the father and son sort of thing. And of course, when they're in the windmill at the end, and that mill is turning round with all the barriers of wood, and the monster's on one side, Frankenstein's on the other, and the two of them look at each other. They're looking through a mirror at the flip side of each other's at their own personality, because they are one and the same, the creator and the creation. A lot of clever stuff in this movie. Now, back to the mask itself. Green, it's green. He was painted green because green picks up on black and white film looking very sort of cadaverish, pale and grey. Works great for that. So green, that's what he was painted. Now, the mouth is sealed. We've got two little holes in the nostrils, and there's holes in the pupils of the eyes, so your eyes can move about in there. I like that. The blood in the gashes is nice and livid and strong and bright. I like that as well. And they look suitably deep ravines. Many original publicity shots showed him with these great big sort of ridges on his forehead. 1, 2, and one on either side. And they're in a lot of shots. That was an earlier look. I'm not sure what they were supposed to be, what they were supposed to denote, but the finished film, he doesn't have those, so the mask does not have those. We do have the big rivet staple here, which you should, when you get it, make sure the hair's parted so you can see that, because you should see that. The hair, folks, is fantastic, but you may well have to work with it, because it should be flattened down, yeah, and it should be in little, sort of like Russell Crowe as Maximus, have his little Roman curls down there. Now, as well, you may find a lot of people have always complained about Tots masks. The hair coverage isn't great. You get a lot of hair drop. There's alopecia, there's strips where it's kind of nude at the back. Not so with any of the new masks that have come out. They've been brilliant hair-wise, especially the Wolfman. You're talking about hair and fur. Christ, that's the ultimate. But the flat top is there. The extended fod, the height, the brow, that's all there. The hair is thick and luxurious, but it should not cover the ears. And you may find, as I did, because the hair came down to about there and was thick and bushy, you're going to have to trim it back. If you want that look, it's your mask. You paid for it. You can do what you want with it. You can shave it all off if you want, but if you want it to be screen accurate, you will need to show those ears. It's a lot. The hair's a lot neater around here. And it's kind of swept back. The sides don't come very far down. They're just barely in front of the ear, and it goes around the ear. Now that side there is great on mine. That side there is bushy, and I've had a bit of trouble trying to align that and get. I mean, you don't want it too neat. It shouldn't be totally slicked back and gorgeous, but you should be able to get that ear on show. But that side I found is thicker and there's more lift to that side than there is to this. You can quite clearly see, that's a bit thinner, a bit more slicked down. That is bushier on that side. Folks, you're going to get your mask and you're going to discover little bits and bobs which maybe aren't to your liking, but you can rectify it. Again, the hair on this one was sticking up when I got it, but that wasn't a problem. And I didn't even do anything to it. I didn't use any hairspray or hair gel or anything at all. I literally just smoothed it down and used with my own fingers and the oil from your own fingers, just made these strands. What I have done though is trim them slightly because they actually came down quite a bit. You don't want that. Don't forget the forehead's meant to be exaggerated. It's meant to be high. So if they're down here, then you've got a fringe. You're hiding the fact that it's an outsized forehead. So you need to trim it back. On yours, you might not have to. I don't know. Or you might even like it with a fringe. I don't know. But it's entirely up to you. We have split up the back. Great hair coverage around the back there. You know, I really, apart from slightly bushier, I'd rather have too much hair on it than not enough. Because, you know, you can always trim it back. If there's not enough there, there's not much you can do. Well, some people know how to, you know, this whole rehauling or rehairing, you know, if you've got the skills, hey, you know, party on. But I'm just happy that mine does look fabulous. There are certain images and obviously certain ways of looking at it. You want shadow on this to really get that effect. I've got an overhead light there, but you really want subdued light to bring out the depth of the eyes, the sunken eyes, to bring out, accentuate, you know, the forehead, the brow, and the pinch quality of the face and the chin and the neck. But otherwise, it is magnificent. Justin Mabry's done a bang-up job. Look at that. Look at that. I have that image you're seeing there, glowering from the cover of literally about 20, maybe 30 big old 1970s movie tomes, you know, horror movies, pictorial guide to horror cinema, films of terror, you know, all this kind of stuff. And he's normally front and center, you know, in some kind of profile shot or literally just glowering out like that at you. Because he is the poster boy, let's be honest. And of course, I like the way that he's very sympathetic in the first movie. He's even more sympathetic in the second film, but he does kill more people in the second movie as well. He may be more sympathetic but he has a plan. He has a master plan. He wants a bride, you know, wants a mate, and he also realizes like, beer, good, whiskey, better. But let's go in. Let's see how it looks. You can hear in the background because I'm playing the score from, well, there isn't much score to the first movie, so it's mainly the second one, Bride of Frankenstein. Whoa. He reaches up for the light. We belong dead. Whoa! Folks, that's a great mask. That is a really good mask. I'm very, very pleased with it. I still think, the way I'm looking at on the screen now, and I am seeing bits of some of the imagery that I've seen online, when I was thinking, what's going on with that? And it is the angles that you're looking at it from, and the lighting that's hitting it. This is the craft of movie making. I have absolutely no doubt in my mind that is a very, very accurate recreation of what Jack P has created. And it looks amazing. I mean, it's an iconic image. The same as like the S from Superman or the Batman logo. You can take that and this image anywhere in the world, even some lost primitive tribe down in deepest South America. You show them that, they're going to go, oh, Frankenstein. And you have to go, no, it's the monster, not Frankenstein. And they're going to go, oh, got me again. But we're still going to eat you because we're cannibals. Oops. But yeah, one of the most iconic movie monsters and characters, indelible, and so influential. Obviously, for the Mummy, Boris Karloff would undergo a more extensive makeup routine from Jack Pierce again for his role as the desiccated mummy in the sarcophagus at the start of the film, and of course as Ardeth Bay, the absolutely wizened, parchment-skinned, reincarnation of the mummy. But it is astonishingly good. I mean, you can see the shading on it, the subtle shading that's there. Some people may choose to, emphasise, the darkness under the eyes even more. I'm not sure if I'm going to do that. I don't think I am. What you might not be able to pick up on as well, you have the a lining of blood around the eyeball itself, and there's a kind of sad, glistening effect to it as well. He is a sad, sympathetic monster. Your heart does go out to him. You do empathise with his plight. He's cast out and hated by all and sundry. But the eyes, because those heavy lids and the sunken, recessed eyeballs and the glistening blood there's a kind of sort of gleam, almost a tearful gleam in those eyes. And I'm not just saying that is there. And it does give it a kind of a life. I know you're dead, but it's character building. You're dead, but you have this soul, and you're crying out for a mate, just to be loved, aren't we all? I'm just crying out for whiskey. We can do with this, Mm. So there's Dr. Pretorius talking there. Ernest Thesiger from Bride of Frankenstein. Oh, he one of the greatest creations ever as well. Superb characterization.
Yes, there have been developments.
Yeah. So you've got to play about with the hair a little bit, but make sure you get this revealed. That's got to be there. But there's not a great deal to do to it. To be honest, I'm not sure about the wisps of hair around the back. I'm not sure if that's quite accurate. I don't know. I can't remember. I will go and check. But as I say, I've already done some modifications. I've already cut the hair down around the ears because it was just too much. It came over all that. It was just too shaggy, too bushy, just too much of it. But the coverage, as I say, is fabulous. Absolutely fabulous. And it feels good as well, Folks, there you go. That's another one for the collection. Look at that. That does look great, doesn't it? Thing is, in costume, you're going to have to, unless you really are tall, and I'm not. I'm only barely 5'7". Yeah. That lost tribe of cannibals, I'm from a tribe of pygmies. Tartan kilted pygmies. And so for me to play him, I'd have to be on stilts, because it just wouldn't work. You look at baby Boris. But yeah, folks, another winner from Tots. They really have knocked them out the park. I will get more, but I need to be paid first. Oh, hang on, I've just been paid. Yeah! So, folks, from me and Boris, we're off to do the monster mash now. It was a graveyard smash. Cut on in a flash. So, tomorrow is Halloween. The next time you see me, it'll be Halloween, and I'll be doing stuff on Halloween. Throughout Halloween. Won't we? Yeah. Please, be cool, be happy, be healthy. Keep it kilted, keep it Celtic. And we're going to see you all Throw the switch, Fritz! The switch!